channel. I hope that y'all have been having a great week, mamas. Like, this week felt very good, very fresh. Like, we're really starting the new year. Like, January, we had to get our feet grounded, settled, situated, but like, this week feels good, right? Or this month feels good. So, welcome back to my channel. So hope you guys enjoyed the last one, but this week I want to talk about babysitters. Yes, babysitters. And how we found our babysitter. Like, let's get into it. Let's say it together. Babysitters. Okay. Um, this was pretty much a time where we kind of, well, how we secured our babysitter was at a point where we kind of didn't have an option. Yeah, like it was kind of like do or die, bend or fold, like what we gonna do kind of thing. So I'll rewind back to hopping straight out of maternity leave. So hopping straight out of maternity leave for about 2 months. Chase started daycare when daycare when he was about 6 months. So right at 5.5-ish, 6 months. So rewind into that 2 month period, right? So there's a 2 month period from coming straight off maternity leave, being with him for 3 months, and then going back to work. Again, my job it's not consistent when it comes to my days off. And then most of my days off are during the week. It's not ever the same days every week. It's just 2 days a week. And they're usually during the weekday. It's never the weekend. So you have that, right? So that leaves that opportunity or that window for the weekend. Like, okay, well, daycares don't operate through the weekend, so what are we gonna do? Okay. And then my boyfriend, he currently he's working from home, so they don't have to go into the office anymore much. But at that point in time, they were doing like this bi-week thing where you would go in because they had just bought a new building, so you would go into the office one week from the whole COVID situation of them being at home. So you go into the office one week, home next week, office next week, home the week after that, kind of thing. So it was bi-weekly for them. So that 2 month window, at that point in time, I was just telling my boyfriend like, hey, I'm really not comfortable yet. Like, I'm not comfortable just letting, like, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how to search for in-home daycare enough to where my mental capacity will allow me to figure out, like, do I just leave my child with this person I don't know? Yeah, like we wasn't there yet. We wasn't there yet. We were still, we were still pumping. We were still like there were so many other things that were still going on. So like that wasn't even in my visual at that point in time. So he was telling me like, well, hey, my godmom stays here and she stays in Riverdale. It might be a little truck, but I mean, we could always, I trust her, and we can always let her, take care of him while we're at work. And I'm like, okay, like you trust her, I trust her, like whatever. And at that point in time, I didn't know her all too well, but like of course got to know her afterwards, and she was amazing, love her. Um, but the situation with that was us both working in the city. When we left work to get out of the city, if you live in Atlanta, it's automatically an hour. Wherever you trying to get to go home. If you don't live in the city, you live on the outskirts of the city, it's an hour. Even if you live in the city, it might be 45 minutes to get back home, right? So that was tacking on an extra hour to our day, and then not only doing that going home, but also going to drop him off too. So that was like an extra 45 minutes tacking on to our morning routine. So after doing that for about 2 months, we got to a place where I mentally got to a place where I was just like, okay, um, the extra commuting, even though we loved her, if she just stayed a little closer, it would have been okay. But the extra commuting, tacking on to our daily routine it was a lot. It was just terrible. So we ended up finding the daycare there, and there was that, right? But that does not talk about the weekends. Like the weekends, because I work on the weekends, right? And then my boyfriend also DJs on the weekends as well. So we started, we were getting used helping, or not you helping, but we were having our parents come down. So my mom and dad would come down every other week. His mom and dad would come at the opposite weekends and help out, or we would send him up to them to, hold him for the weekend. And as we appreciated it, right? But it came to a point where we were kind of like, okay, we can't keep asking our mom and dad to our mom and dads to come down here, even though they would drop whatever it is and it drop of a dime to drop down here. It's just we appreciate it, but we just didn't want to overexert it. So, because they were driving, my mom and dad were driving 4 hours down here, and then his mom and dad were driving 2.5, 3 hours down here. So, we decided, like, okay, so we gotta do something. And I remember it like it was yesterday. It was kind of like a schedule conflict where he had a gig that someone asked him to pick up or to take over for him that Saturday, and I'll never forget it. It was a Friday night, and I came home, and he was like, "Hey, I really want to pick up this gig tomorrow, but I know you work. I know you," and I was closing that night or closing that next day, so I was working about 12 to 9. So he was like, "I know you work, but I really want to pick this up, so I'm going to see if there's if there's any way that I can pick it up." So I'm sitting here like, okay, cool. Well, maybe we'll just call his mom and dad and see if they could help out or hold on to him for the weekend or for Saturday, Sunday. That didn't work because they have plans. So with that being the case, we then were just kind of faced with, okay, so what do we do? You want to take this in, by all means, man. Go get the money. Okay, go get the money. If you getting booked, go get the money. So, but also I don't have an option where I can just be like, oh, hey, my boyfriend has to work, so I can't come in today. So we were just kind of presented with the issue of like, what are we gonna do? So, at that point, we kind of realized that it was too late in the game, and he wasn't gonna be able to take the gig because we didn't have anybody to watch Chase. So I came home that night, and I know I had to work Saturday, so I came home the next day that night and kind of talked to him about it. And we're very vocal with each other throughout this journey. Like, we sit down, have talks, and all the things. So I talked to him that night, and he was just like, yeah, we really got to figure something out because I don't want to miss like too many more gigs, and he hadn't missed many, but he just didn't want to miss out on those opportunities, especially because at that time he was just like starting to like pick up gigs like consistently. So, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, like I want you to make the money too, baby, but like I don't have an option to not be at work. Like, I gotta go to work. So, at that point, I was just like, okay, well, I guess I will have to find a babysitter. So in my mind, I recall the time while we were on maternity leave, or I was on maternity leave. We took a walk over to the neighborhood beside us, where his line brother and his wife live, and they have 2 kids. And so we walked over and chopped it up with them. And she had just had a new baby as well, but I think she's like probably 7 months older than Chase. So she was still kind of in that area where like we can relate, girl. Let's talk. So of course, he's talking to him, and I'm talking to her, and I'm like picking her brain because this is her second baby, So I'm picking her brain, and I'm like, okay, what? Pumping, like, how do you build your supply, and like, ooh, and what do you feed? Like, what are you feeding her? Like, what kind of vegetables, like, or purees are you feeding? Oh, and then okay, babysitter. We need a babysitter. What do you do? And so she ended up telling me about Care.com. I was not 100% sold on it, but I was just like, okay, cool. But it's always been in the back of my mind. So, once we hit that like soft spot, now fast forward, when I came back from maternity leave, I made sure that I sat down with my manager or my director at the time and was just like, hey,
And she was a mom, or she's a mom of two twins. And they're, at that time, I think they were both two. So I was just like, I told her, as well as my HR manager, I was like, listen, I know that I know what I signed up for a year ago, right? I know what I signed up for. I know that, the schedule, as far as it pertains to, my position, I, signed on agreeing that I had open availability. And I still do, right? But like, I have a child now, baby. I have a child, a whole infant, a human, like, I need help. Like, I can't work every weekend. Like, I'm literally giving y'all every weekend that I have. And while I am here, like, I'm pushing it. I'm making the money. I'm doing what I gotta do. But at the same time, like, I'm worried in the back of my mind, or I'm having anxiety in the back of my mind, because I'm like, I hope my child's okay. Like, I'm only 3 months into this thing. Like, help me. Help me, please. Okay? Like, so the only thing that they would even do, of course, and my director, y'all, why my director was like, oh, well, no, I totally understand, especially being a new mom, I have two myself, but, you can look into apps for babysitters, or you can look into apps for nannies. And I'm saying her, like, nannies, girl, are you serious? Like, we're not on the same page when it comes to finances, baby. Like, I'm not a store director, so you can't possibly think that they pay me enough to a nanny. Like, a nanny? You're cute. But no. Yeah, and also, no, I'm not getting on no app to find nobody to take care of my child. Thank you. Yeah. So, um, I ended up, y'all, getting on the app. Fast forward, and so after having that conversation with them, the only thing they told me that they could do was literally like help me for a month. I think it was like maybe a month and a week, where they let me be off for 2 weekends, and that was it. They were like, oh, okay, yeah, so we helped accommodate you, but we can't accommodate you any longer. So I'm sitting here like, what? Okay, cool, bet. So fast forward back to, so that Saturday, we sat down and we talked, and we were like, okay, so what are we gonna do? Because we need to do something, right? Because he doesn't want to, starting to pick up gigs like heavy, and he doesn't want to miss out on any other opportunities, especially bringing money in the house. And again, I don't want to cut into any of that, okay? Because we need all coins, but also, again, I'm in a situation where I'm just like, okay, well, I get that, and I want you to grow, and I want you to grow your business and your brand, but at the same time, like, hey, I don't have an option to not be at work either. So that Saturday night, I literally remember it like I said yesterday. I came home, sat on the app, and I just started feeling like this frustration and this anxiety, because I started realizing, like, we don't have any other options. We got to get on the app. We've got to get on the app. Like, ooh, like, it was, yeah, just the thought of it, just because in my mind, see, I think of it like it being like Tinder. I've never been on Tinder, but like, I'm just imagining to myself, like, this seems like the Tinder app for babysitters. Like, you just scroll until you find a match, or you're like, oh yes, yeah, like, and no, see, no shade. I've heard that Tinder, it has its times, I guess. I don't know. I've heard of quite a few relationships that flourish off of Tinder, right? But that ain't this. This is my child, okay? And I don't want to get on no app to find somebody, a random person to take care of my child, right? So, sitting on the couch, and I'm like dreading it, y'all. I'm downloading the app, and my blood is racing. I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. Open the app, put in all my information or whatever, and here pop up, type in my zip code, and here pops up just so many options, right? Options are good, but so many options. And when it came to my brain cell at that point, I literally felt like I didn't feel like I was losing it, but I was just, I felt panic. But we took it a step at a time. So I started looking through, and I narrowed it down to like 4 people. Meanwhile, I looked to my left, and my man, is just chilling, like smooth sailing while I'm doing all the work, like And if you're a mom, like we love y'all down. We do. We love a good man. We love our men down, right? But as moms, it feels like sometimes that we just take a lot on. And not necessarily that we have to, but we just know that like we can get it done better. Love y'all though, but we can get it done better. So here I am going through the apps, and I narrowed it down to like 4 people. Screenshot them all, send them to him. Meanwhile, he's just chilling, right? So I was like, we gotta pick out one of the 4. So I'm sending out messages to all 4 of them because he has, I think it was the gig on that Sunday, and we were trying to figure out like if there was availability, if somebody would be able to watch him the next day. So the girl who sent the message back, there was one that replied like almost not immediately, but about 3 hours later, and I talked to her, text her through the app, everything was cool. And so I finally was just like, okay, well, let's exchange information. So we exchanged phone numbers, FaceTimed her, and I was like, hey, I know, it's so late, but I just wanted to like reach out to you, like, so we're not like texting and like, the next day you don't even know what I look like or whatever, because I probably would have left earlier before you leave. And she was like, oh yeah, no. But she popped up on FaceTime. She was so sweet, and she's young. She's working on getting into grad school and everything. So she was so sweet, and so she told me that she would call me before she came or was heading over in the morning, and that was kind of that. And it's been all she wrote, and she literally has been our go-to since then, and that's probably been almost a year. Yeah. So, and we love her. And the crazy thing is just that like through all of this, what I constantly remind myself and am thankful for is the fact of the matter that not only did we look up, and the thing is, again, with the app, it's not. I was kind of skeptical in the beginning because the app shows you all these options, right? And you can read the reviews, you can see like the stars, you can what else? They have like the background check ID badges or whatever and everything like that. So that confirms that they've had a background check and everything. But it's just I was skeptical because like on the app most of the time they're just good reviews. And I was skeptical because like, okay, all these people have good reviews. How am I supposed to narrow this down to one person that like that's gonna be taking care of my child in my home while I'm not there? And at that time we didn't even have our security like system set up in our home yet. So like no cameras, no nothing. I'm just going on good faith and reviews, baby. Like what? Like, I'm confused. But again, like we love her to death. So fast forward, she comes in that day or that morning, and she's super sweet. My baby is so sweet. So like it was just an instant connection. They love each other. That doesn't mean that I didn't have anxiety throughout the day, baby. Okay, because honey, clocked in. Yeah, y'all give me 1 second. I need to take a break real quick. Okay? I'm talking about every hour, on the hour. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm taking a 10. I need to make a call. Yeah. 2 hours later. I'll have someone help you. Give me 1 second. I need to go make a call. Like, like clockwork, okay? And after that, it was just all she wrote. She literally, like, I know I FaceTimed her on my lunch that day, and she had him in the camera, and he was smiling. And I think to see him smiling, like, really made me feel like, okay, like, she knows what she's doing. My baby's happy. Like, at least I can breathe. At least I can, work. Even though I'm anxious about it all, like, I can at least work through, my anxiety. So by the time I got home, everything was fine. He loved her. She said he did amazing. And after that, it was just all she wrote. And yeah, that's all sweet. Like, so my advice when it comes to that is that just like, don't be so, because this is new, it's a new day and age we're in now. My mom and dad, they didn't have no app. They didn't have no app. It was all word of mouth. It was through the village. You know, who's taking care of your baby? Okay, can I drop them off? Okay, I'm gonna drop them off over there too. Like, you know, so don't be so nervous about you know, the new age workings that we're living in now. And I think again that was just my biggest thing was like, what? Like I can't, I don't understand. Like my mental couldn't wrap around the thought of just leaving my child with someone that I just found on the internet. On Jesus' internet. Like, just didn't feel right. But it worked out. And again, we're, like I said, we're blessed, we're lucky, for sure, because she's so sweet. We love her to death. But again, and then I guess the last thing I will say is whenever you're ready, you do that. Like, because I feel like there's a mental space that you gotta be in to be ready to do that. You know, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but like, was I ready mentally or emotionally just yet to like make that step or make that call or that decision? Absolutely not. I feel like probably maybe if I gave it another 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 months, I probably would have been like, okay, I'm ready now. But like I was hot off of maternity leave. Maternity leave. Like I literally 4 months, maybe 4 or 5 months. Like so, but also we didn't have any other choice. Like it was either like, okay, it was like if we both work on the weekend, how are we gonna make this work? So that was what aided in the situation of like, hey, we gotta figure out something quick and we gotta make it. So that kind of forced me to be okay or be ready for it. But if you are privileged enough or you know you have the resources or the village and everything to do that or hold off, girl. Ain't nobody listen. You hold that baby tight, baby. Like you know, like get into some things. Y'all go out in the streets, all the things. But like when the time comes, just know that if you move and you make that call when you're ready. Okay, don't force yourself. Like again, if you don't have the option, care about. And honestly, too, like. And this is not promotional like product or nothing like that or B-roll or anything like that because I paid money to have her come over here and babysit. Like I put my information in on the app and no one requested me to do that. Like, but even if y'all want to have like some me time, like date nights or you know, even if you want some just you time, mama girl, like hop on there. And the thing is, we were trying to find a babysitter for like the long haul. It wasn't for like just a day or 2 or 3 or like just random days. Like we knew that we would whoever we ended up finding, we would have to like well not have to stick with them, but we wanted to stick with them for the long haul, which we ended up finding, which was perfect. But so yeah, my advice would just be if you get on the app, make it purposeful enough as far as like, or make it more of an intention to find someone or look for someone that is going to be a long haul. So there's not like, oh, we used her yesterday and we'll use her next week, or we like, because again, that brings on extra anxiety. Like we got people in and out your house, like, and they don't have to. I don't think they have to be at the house, but I think that's just was comfortable for me. Like at the very least, at least my child is at home where I have cameras, and you know I can look on my phone and see like, okay, what's happening, like as opposed to them going to someone else's house. This, yeah. But long story short, care.com is not all bad, but you just need to be ready. And when you're ready, whenever you're ready, okay? You don't have to be today or tomorrow, but just know that that is a really cool resource that you can use. It's available to you. And if you have any questions or anything like that, just let me know. Like, I totally am here to answer them. Um, Again, this is not something that like I wanted to do, but again, it was just one of those things where it's just like, okay, we gotta figure something out. So, and I'm here to tell the story, and the story's great. The story ends great. It ends well. So, I have faith in it. Am I pro care.com? Absolutely, I am. I totally am. So if you have, like I said, any concerns, any questions, you want to know any more deets, definitely drop the comments below. Send me DMs, all the things. You know, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. So just let me know, and I'll definitely answer. Have no problem. I want to answer them, like seriously, because I feel like it's each one teach one. If you can help me, I can help you. Let's help each other. I mean, it's mom game. Like, yeah, like we're all in this together. How does it with the High School Musical? We're all in this together. That's for the millennials, but nonetheless. But yes, that was this week. Babysitters and the wow about it. But yeah, I don't know what we're talking about next week, but we'll see. Drop any comments down below if you want me to like speak on anything specifically. But yeah, so I'll see you guys next week. Talk to you later. Bye.